The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN, 9:06 a.m. Tuesday morning. We got about 24 minutes to go until the start of trading, and we got markets catching a bid this morning, barely in the positive, but catching a bid from the overnight session. We take a look at the S&P to start things off. You're positive by about 1 point right now. You see the acceleration we had to lower prices last night. You dive to a low of about 44.17 in the S&Ps, and since then we've melted upward back to about flat territory, slightly in the green. S&P is trading at 44.27. NASDAQ 100, not quite the drop that you saw in the S&P, but we did trade a bit lower. Right now, we're positive by 14 points, 0.1% in the green. The Dow barely positive as well, back above 35,000. You do trade lower to about 34,920, and then you have the Russell positive by 2 points right now. Crude, quite a day yesterday. You trade to 65.15. We're back to 67.46 in crude. Gold contract, quite the day as well. You died to 16.77 when the futures opened Sunday night. You traded about 17.40 to start the session yesterday. We dipped lower and ended at about 17.30, and that's kind of right where we're trading. We're technically positive by about $3 in the session at 17.29. You were as high as about 17.39 as about 2:30 a.m. this morning. You got silver up 6 pennies. Tough day for silver yesterday as well, down to 22.29. We're trading at 23.33 right now. And notes and bonds, a little bit of lower price and higher yield. We're looking at a yield approaching 1.33%. You got the 10-year negative by 2 ticks, 133.22. You got the 30-year negative by 3 ticks at 163.19. We take a look at the volatility index on Tuesday, 1667. Interesting, 1660, really the historical average, 16, the average that the VIX is in. We're sitting at all-time highs. We got a lot of jobs to make up. We got about 10 million jobs open. We got about 10 million jobs to make up, 9 or 10, however you factor it. Nonetheless, though, we're sitting at basically all-time highs in all across the market. Now, the Russell, the one you could make the case, you put it on a daily, we're a solid 130 points about from the all-time highs. But besides that, taking a look at the S&Ps, you are bumping up against all-time highs across the board. NASDAQ, similar scenario. You're talking about only, 33 points from all-time highs in the NASDAQ. The Dow, you're within about 130 points of all-time highs. So Russell, a little bit of a laggard there across the board in terms of the indices. All right, what else we got going on? It is still earnings season. We got one of the meme stocks among the few that are out with action this morning. We'll take a look at AMC. AMC trading higher. Surprise, surprise, from 34 to 37, some decent numbers. You take a look at the daily. This thing has been one heck of a roller coaster. Now, do you see what's interesting here is that when I went to zoom in on this action, right, I was like, let's see the run here. You got up to 72. You almost forget about that run we had in January where this thing traded from $2 to 20, gave it all back to 5, not all back to 5. It really began in May when you ran from 11 to 72. You're back to 33. This morning, we're going to open a bit positive for AMC. We're going to open at $37.20. We got the numbers, narrower than expected loss. But the CEO warns theater chain is not yet out of the woods. You should not need the CEO to tell you that, folks. If you are an investor in a movie theater chain in the year 2021, that you are not yet out of the woods in terms of, succeeding as a company. There are a lot and hurdles this company will have to get over, even with the ability to raise the funds they have. Some of the stuff that's interesting they get into here, aside from the numbers, quarterly loss, they narrowed to 71 cents versus 91 loss per share. Revenue, they beat 444 million versus 382 million. Market was looking for, loss of 91 cents, as we mentioned. The revenue, the company had reached an agreement with Warner Brothers to showcase all of the studio's 2022 slate in theaters for 45 days. You can see how this is playing out, right? Interesting how it goes here. So Warner Brothers, in late 2020, decided to release all of its 2021 films in cinemas and through its HBO Max streaming service on the same day. So they're already making these types of deals as we move forward. Now, it's interesting. I am a subscriber to HBO Max right now, right? One of the reasons that I signed up for them was because they're releasing all their films for the period of a year the same exact day. There's some great films coming out. I don't own HBO, Time Warner, but there's some great films coming out in terms of this month, next month, even as a subscriber to sign up to gain access same day. It's not a premium service. Disney launching some of their movies in theaters and at the same time charging $30 a pop. As a subscriber to access it, HBO, they're just available same day for a period of time. Then what actually does happen is they actually disappear on HBO for a period of time after their initial release, and then they'll probably come back to the service. But that's not happening in 2022. Interesting to see how that's going to hit Time Warner, HBO. Time Warner, of course, much larger than HBO. But in terms of their streaming platform, as a consumer, that was a huge selling point to say, you know what, if I'm going to think about signing up for HBO, they get some great programming anyway. I rewatched Game of Thrones in the last 6 months or so. Always fun. Except for maybe the ending, which is a little bit controversial in terms of lacking in some ways. We'll leave it there. But nonetheless, you see how it's going to play out. Now, the other interesting thing that they talked about here is accepting Bitcoin. They're going full all in on the meme craze, the Bitcoin craze, anything that's catching a wind lately. Now, you jump over to Bitcoin. It has been quite a pop on Bitcoin, right? You look where we're at. Now, the next critical level we're coming up to, we were at 60,000. Now, you really, if you want to get the full high, right, this is where it's an art, not a science, folks, okay? When you're looking at Fibonacci numbers, right, where are you looking at? Well, I'm looking at a straight drop, basically. If you want to talk about a trend, you dropped from May 10th, you were trading at 60,000. By May 19th, you were trading at almost 30,000. All right. Now, just looking at the bounce we've gotten, you're coming up to that 61.8% Fibonacci level. That's about 48,200. But man, talk about an acceleration. July 21st, we had a 29,000 handle on Bitcoin. It's been basically a one-way trip. Now, I'm going to take this Fibonacci level off here. All right, we're going to zoom in on the action we've had just from the uptrend. You move it to about July 20th. The low there I have is 29,215. Okay, so just shy of 30,000. You got about a 12,000 A to B leg. All right, what I'm doing is I'm setting up if a potential A to B, C to D. Here's your A to B. All right, now you're only talking about, what's that, 8 trading days essentially. You pull back, because the thing here is you take a look at this pullback. All right, and that's matching pretty close up to a 382. You pull back, you accelerate higher. If we're talking about a 12,000 leg, A to B, the C point there, 37,300. So you're pushing about 49,300, right? Now that's correlating pretty close, 49,300. Maybe it's between 48,000, maybe it's between 49,000. 48,267. What did we just say? 49,300. So if you're in Bitcoin, look, maybe that's an area of resistance we come into. The other area you're looking about, I mean, the gaps in Bitcoin, not as meaningful because the gaps really just represent the futures trading when Bitcoin is trading all overnight. But man, Bitcoin's kind of big. You got Ethereum catching a bid as well. I believe Ethereum's up over $3,100. Trading down at like 1,800 at some of the lows there. Nonetheless, catching a bid. And it's interesting action when AMC probably probably intelligently going all in, basically, on the Reddit craze that's driven them from a price point of almost less than $2 to trading at $37 today. And it would make sense they're going all in. They're going to think about accepting Bitcoin. Why not, folks, right? Ride the wave that got you there. AMC, they're going to be higher by a few bucks this morning, but we will see what happens when the market opens, that's for sure. S&P is positive by 2 points right now, 44.28. Over in, there we go. In terms of where we were trading in Asia, you have the Nikkei up 0.2, Shanghai positive by 1%, and the DAX over in Europe positive by about 0.2% as well. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be coming back talking to our man Kevin Hincks from Thinkorswim Fast Market. We'll be right back.
Golden ratios give shape to everything in our world, represented in the Fibonacci sequence. These special numbers define the patterns that make up our universe. Not even markets can escape the omnipotence of these ratios. Larry Pesavento is a 45-year market veteran who has published nearly a dozen books on the powerful patterns we find in nature and their relationships with the ever-elusive markets. Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, will teach you to harness the power of these natural golden ratios in order to create successful trades. Fibonacci 24/7 is designed to teach the tools you need to identify and act on these undeniable and reoccurring patterns. Sign up for Larry's newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7, and you will also receive free access to his trading webinar, Trading Strong Trending Markets. Try out Larry's newsletter risk-free. All of TFNN's newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
What's separating you from the most successful men and women on Wall Street? That's right, information. Having all the information gives us the perspective we need to place the right trades at the right time. The TAS Profile Scanner is the premier market profile-based scanner. Powered by its acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner instantly filters over 2,500 plus global financial markets, such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. This powerful suite of tools leverages instant trade filtering and strategy formulation to show you emerging trades before they happen. For a limited time, you can save $100 off your first month by using the promo code UPGRADE, and you still get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Level the playing field with the TAS Profile Scanner, which you can find under the Services tab at TFNN.com. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. We get the S&P is positive by 2 right now. We get the NASDAQ 100 positive by 16. The Dow positive by 16 as well. And the Russell positive by 4. All the indices in the green right now. Let's jump over to our man, Kevin Hincks. Every trading day, folks, 11 a.m. Eastern time, right here on Tiger TV. Kevin Hincks, Alex Coffey, the team at TD Ameritrade Network on Fast Market, breaking down the market action, walking you through hypothetical trades, folks, talking about options, talking about defined risk. Kevin Hincks, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy. Yeah, you know, this is a day, Tommy, I believe that we're going to wait for the CPI data tomorrow. So, you know, you got a very hesitant opening of the market here coming up here in about 12 minutes. Not, you know, the 4 major indices aren't very far from home. I think the economic data this morning wasn't great. NFIB small business was a miss. Productivity and costs were a slight miss, and Redbook was a good solid number. But I think it's all about tomorrow's CPI number. Is inflation coming to this market, and how do we deal with it? The expectations are for 0.5 on the headline and 0.4 on the core. That's lower than last month's 0.9, but still a solid number. I think that's why you're seeing the 10-year creep a little higher the last few days. Now, it's pretty unchanged to start the day, but even though we've got all that, I think tomorrow's a big day for the market in terms of economic data. And then we wait for, you know, the biggest earnings release of the week is probably Disney on Thursday, Tommy.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. I mean, talking about inflation, right? Talking about whether we're talking about yields. I mean, the yield, Kevin, I know you noticed the yield, remarkable action from last Wednesday's action. We were at 135.14 trading on the 10-year. That had us at about a yield of 1.12%. And just like that, Kevin, we're sitting pushing basically 1.33%. The yield on the 10-year. It's pretty interesting how much variance, how much volatility right now, even when you look at the yields. I mean, you talk about a move of 0.2%, Kevin, and that's not moving from like 4.8 to 4.6, right, which is a more marginal move. When you're moving from 1.1 almost to 1.3, it's just amazing that the market can have these types of moves in the yield, but it makes sense when kind of the level of uncertainty maybe that we have going on, like you point to, where we're getting economic data where we're really not sure on some of that inflationary data where it's going to persist. And, you know, we got negative real yields out here, Kevin. What are you making of the 0.2 of a move, these moves in the yield? What does that say to you when we get these types of moves in the 10-year especially?
I'll tell you what, Tommy, I think it says to me that I remember a time in my young trading career where you used to go to the bond market to escape volatility. And these bonds and notes have become one of the more volatile moves, even though, let's be perfectly honest, the Fed has done their best to take some of the volatility out of the bond market. But still, that move down to 1.1, there goes my old theory, Tommy, of sometimes futures will go where they can hurt the most people. And that move, there wasn't a lot of people talking about being long bonds. All the news was, rates are going to go higher eventually and sooner rather than late. And, boy, that a move of 1.1, that was a surprise to a lot of people. But that's what futures and that's what the financial markets can do. They can go where further and stay longer than you ever expect, Tommy.
And it was a vicious move, man. Talking about it in price-wise, it was like, from June 17th, I got there, Kevin. We went from a price point of basically 131.14 up to almost a solid 4 points. 135 was the high, 135.14 exactly. And we got a little bit of a pullback. So, of course, you talk about earnings. We got Disney coming up on Thursday. One of my favorite stocks out there, but been a laggard this year for sure. Actually, I think it's barely maybe red for the year when you get the S&P pushing maybe 18%. We had some earnings coming out already. AMC, some interesting action there. It seems like they're going all in, might be accepting Bitcoin in the future. There's a lot to talk about. We got CPI data, of course, but we got earnings going on besides Disney. What are you guys going to be talking about on Fast Market coming up at 11 o'clock today, Kevin?
In the first segment of the show, we're going to talk about J.P. Morgan and look at what this rising yields and the yield curve, the effect they're having on financials. Then we'll look at Costco, and then we'll look at Twitter today. So what we're doing, kind of a post-earnings moratorium on some of these names.
Nice. Yeah, and those banks, man, it is quite an interesting conversation just talking about, J.P. Morgan, one of the best banks out there for sure. You trade from 100, right, Kevin? Some of these runs we've had from November, 100 to 167. We're sitting at 157, of course. You got a little bit of a pullback as we've had some rising yields. Bank of America, it's remarkable. The moves we've gotten now, it almost would seem too easy, Kevin, when we had yields at 0.5% to be buying the banks. Of course, maybe they might be getting some rising yields. But I don't think the moves we got maybe in banks, something like a bank where you're getting 100% bangers across the board. Now, Kevin, we've talked about this before, right? Airlines, of course, coming out, Boeing, maybe, coming off the top. You guys have talked about airlines, of course, on the program. We've had quite a little pullback on this travel sector as we've seen, maybe it's some fears of the variant, whether that's going to play out in the future. I know I'm just throwing it out of the ballpark, but it's kind of one of the things I'm trying to wrap my own head around, where they're still so far off of where we were prior to COVID. Do you take a look at the airlines at all? What you kind of feeling when you look at that travel industry in particular that's still reeling, of course, from the slowdowns it's got?
Tommy, we covered Southwest Airlines, and like Folio did a presentation on the airlines yesterday on Fast Market. So, we looked at all these, and not only did we look at the run they had, but they've all become significantly off their highs. So we covered Southwest and Delta yesterday. And, some of and like Folio did a great presentation on Southwest and what they've done with cancellations and things like that and overall air travel. But all you got to do, Tommy, is look at this past weekend's TSA data, and the number for the 8th of August, 2.1 million people went through TSA. And that was the Sunday, Friday, 2.1 million. So people are traveling. It's still not business travel yet, although that's starting to pick up a little bit. But these are still leisure travelers, Tommy, that are traveling. But, Delta has done a great job. What part of our presentation on Delta was that they've gone back to, what they did in the past to really improve their airline, which is they've gone heavy into the used plane market in order to upgrade their fleets. They've leased a bunch of jets. They've bought 29, I think, 737s from an Asian company. So they're upgrading their fleet, saving a bunch of money, and they've got a really high-end rehab and maintenance division that they can get these planes ready. So that is a way that Delta is saving boatloads of money, Tommy.
I tell you, man, we're always scanning the market as traders, right? We're always looking for investments. We're always weighing risk reward, and there's some volatility and there's some risk in these airlines, which is why I love trading with options sometime, man. Which is why I watch the program Fast Market. But just taking a look at Delta, like you talk about, and they're really started coming on my radar, Kevin. And this is my own bias putting into it. But, when you trade it like Delta, for instance, back in October, we're at $28 and change. You drive up to $52 by March. And since then, we pull back 61.8%, Kevin. That's a Fibonacci number in my mind. I like it. We're at $39. You're above 52 earlier in the year. Just maybe, and this is where personal biases come in, but maybe that's getting at a price level if you're able to withstand some of the volatility that's probably, coming at us. But I appreciate the analysis, man. I appreciate the education, and we look forward to the program coming up at 11 o'clock today, Kevin.
Thanks for having me on, Tommy.
My pleasure, Kevin. Have a great one, folks. Tune in, folks, every trading day. They break down stocks. We'll be right back.
Like-minded individuals to discuss your trading and investment ideas with? Become an apex predator in the trading markets and join the Tiger's Den Trading Room only at TFNN.com. The Tiger's Den is an exclusive trading room where successful traders from around the world come to exchange trades and ideas. Join the den and surround yourself with the sharpest minds in the trading world. Subscribers to the Tiger's Den are also the first to have their questions answered live on air and can privately chat with our TFNN hosts live during their shows. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day. Subscribe to the Tiger's Den risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee and become part of the TFNN trading community. TFNN, educating investors.
You could be making money off the stock market. And if you're already making money off the stock market, you could be making a lot more. Check out TFNN and Tiger TV and get expert investing advice to give you the power to control your financial future. Go to TFNN.com and find the newsletter for you. Whether you're into trading gold, metals, futures, currencies, or options, you'll get advice and analysis to help you seriously get ahead. TFNN also features trading services with a 30-day money-back guarantee for new subscribers, as well as TFNN's Tiger Den Trading Room, trading software, and educational webinars for all trading levels. And make sure you check out Tiger TV for free on TFNN.com or TFNN's YouTube channel for live financial content from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern on market days. Stop watching on the sidelines while other people get rich and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartleys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets open, and we got the S&P positive by 2 points. Markets pretty much where we started off the action pre-market, catching a little bit of a sell right now. NASDAQ 100 positive by 10, the Dow positive by 14, and the Russell positive by 6 points right now. Jumping around to what else we got going on. Planet Fitness out with their numbers. Jumping over to their chart, out with the numbers last night. A little bit of a disappointment, trading a little higher on the open, still down about 3%. Getting into their numbers, so the important part here, and I pulled it up on the news function on this one, on the Thinkorswim platform. So they beat in terms of the current, they miss on earnings, okay, 21 cents versus 23. They beat on revenue, which is 137 million versus 127. But fiscal year, the problem here, okay? You're talking about a big miss, earnings per share of 65 to 70 cents versus 94, and sales missing as well, the range of 530 to 540 versus an estimate of 541. So they beat by 10 million here just in the quarter, but they're telling you for the year they're going to miss by maybe 10 million. Not what the market wanted to hear. You're down about 3%. Tough time to be in the gym business, but guess what? You're catching a bid on the open, up about solid $2 almost from where it opened at 73.45. Planet Fitness almost flat this morning. All the markets in the positive right now. All right, jumping down the line of other stocks with action so far this morning. Let's jump to, where are we? I have the top of the list here. Casper Sleep I want to get to. So they rallied pre-market. Now this one's a tough one, right? So first off, competing in the business of selling mattresses, I don't know how you get into that business. I mean, talk about a tough business to be in. Strong growth, retail and direct-to-consumer channels. And here's the part here. Noted that it's dealing with higher input costs and supply chain difficulties. Probably a tough one you want to hear, depending in terms of how that's going to affect things. You see the pop to 722, but guess what? Just like that, we're down about 8% so far on their numbers this morning at 636. Let's jump around to some of the FANG stocks and just see how we're opening here. Amazon down about 0.1%. Microsoft shares positive by 0.8%. Google shares positive by 0.1%, we'll call it, and Netflix shares down about 0.2%. Let's take a look at Disney ahead of their earnings coming up on Thursday. Disney basically flat at 176.61. Now I talked about the FANG stocks. All right, check out this article here. Where are we? Oh, come on. Is it up? Where are we? There we are. SoftBank. SoftBank unit behind risky multi-billion-dollar tech bets dumps Microsoft, Facebook, Alphabet, and Netflix shares. So you have SoftBank offloading billions of dollars in those tech giants I just listed in the 3 months from March till June. Okay, now this is old data here, folks, okay? But what it really illustrates that you want to be careful here is you got some huge players in this market, SoftBank, the biggest of them. They've faltered at times. You know, you think of WeWork, they're in there, right? Even the likes of Uber, Diddy, I believe they were in there as well. They're definitely an Uber player. And some of the losses that they've sustained from the likes of WeWork especially, causing them to liquidate other positions. Now, that's March till June. But at the end of March, SoftBank had $3 billion of Facebook shares, $3.1 billion. Don't forget about the extra $100 million. $1 billion of Microsoft, $575 million of Alphabet, and $382 million of Netflix shares. But all four were unlisted in its June report. It dumped them all right, in that area. Now, what's interesting is March through June, right? Just taking a look at what were we talking about here? Facebook, Microsoft, Alphabet. I mean, just some of these stocks have traded dramatically higher since then. Let's pull up Facebook and see where we're trading at. Yeah, between March and June, it dumped Facebook. That means anywhere from 260, okay, to 320. Well, Facebook's trading at 360. All right, let's take a look at Microsoft, March to June. They were trading from 230 to 260. Facebook's trading at 288 right now. Netflix shares not quite the same because it's been chopping around. They could have gotten a better price potentially than where it's trading at right now because you've basically been in a consolidation between about 480 and maybe 580. In Netflix, what was the other one we talked about here? Facebook, Microsoft, maybe Google we'll take a look at. Google's been pushing all-time highs on a daily basis. Yeah, so they sell out anywhere between 2,000 and about 2,300. Google shares trading at 27.63. I mean, just to illustrate, folks, the times that you see one thing reverberate to the next. That's sometimes what can cause some selling, and didn't happen this time. But be aware of some of those events. When you see some of those losses, you see SoftBank having some of those losses. You see WeWork going south, causing some pretty drastic selling to the tune of billions upon billions of dollars in the tech sector. There was enough buying in there to hold it, But, man, not what you want to do. Forced selling, not what you want to do in terms of missing out on some of the runs that these stocks have had, even in the face of some of that selling. All right, let's jump around to some of the other stocks. Tesla shares, basically down about 0.5% right now. We'll take a look at Uber as we talked about. Uber up about 1.3% for Uber shares. Let's take a look. Some of the Chinese stocks were doing well yesterday. Not a huge deal. Didi up basically 0.6%. Let's see, Baba. Yeah, up 1.3%. I mean, that's barely registering on these charts. The demise has been so substantial. Bitcoin jumping over. So 46,115, back to a 15-minute, pushing the highs of about 46,800 overnight. Gold contract trading at 1726.50 so far this morning. All right, what else we got going on, folks? We have a special treat going on next Thursday. Our man Larry Pesavento, he does his program every trading day at noon Eastern time. He's going to be doing a live trading webinar, folks. 5-hour webinar. That's going to be taking place next Thursday. So you're talking about 9 days from right now. Okay. He will be in there trading live 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. Eastern time. You'll be watching over his shoulder. Okay. You can gain access to this by the front page of TFNN.com. You can click on it for all the details of what Larry's going to be talking about. Now, what you get in here, okay, he's going to be going over everything. He's going to be making live trades during this 5-hour webinar. You also gain access to a month of his daily newsletter, Fibonacci 24/7. That's a $97 value right away. The course is $295. So immediately you're getting a $100 value by signing up for his newsletter, as included with this. $200 basically on top of that. You gain access to the 5-hour webinar. It will be archived. You'll be talking to Larry in there live. Right when you sign up, you gain access to his newsletter. So I encourage you to do it now. You'll be in there for a week. He just put out a great report over the weekend, as he always does, a pretty thorough report. He's always sending out updates 24/7, folks, as it's mentioned. And I encourage you to check it out. Larry's done a few of these. They've always been fantastic, and we look forward to it coming up a week from this Thursday. Amazing. August 19th. Watch out. First day of school in Florida for a lot of the kids out there. Hopefully that was a good day for the parents out there. Always excited. Got to get the kids back in school in terms of all the talk about kids, masks, and however you feel. You got to get kids back in school, which is why it's so important to be able to do it safely and wherever you fall on that. But important and a good day to get those kids back in school in a big way in Florida. And I know Florida, August 10th, right? For those up in Massachusetts, what do you guys start? August 27th, September 6th sometimes. Florida starting a little bit early. It's still a balmy 117 degrees here in Florida. I kid, but pretty hot this morning and humid in the Florida heat. Okay, let's jump around too. What else we got going on? Taking a look at notes and bonds. Kind of sputtering, 133.20. As Kevin mentioned, we got a big data point tomorrow. CPI data coming out. It's all about inflation lately. Rightfully so, because normally, in an economic society, when you have federal stimulus, okay, from the Fed, the Federal Reserve, normally, if you create enough jobs where the economy's rocking, that's when the Fed may pull back. Well, Chairman Powell has been pretty clear that he wants full employment, which means we got to make up 8 or 9 million jobs before they calm down on that front. Well, they might have to calm down on inflation a little bit quicker, which is why the market's keeping its eye on it. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be taking a look at what else we got going on when we get back. Be right back in 3 minutes.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Will the S&P 500 continue to climb? For bold trades on U.S. large-cap stocks in either direction, trade SPXL, SPUU, or SPXS. Directions Daily S&P 500 Bull and Bear Leveraged ETFs. Direction Leveraged ETFs. An investor should carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses before investing. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a fund's prospectus and summary prospectus, call 866-476-7523 or visit directioninvestments.com. A fund's prospectus and summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets in the positive. So talking about the economic data, I mean, what we are looking for, so we do get CPI data in terms of that coming out tomorrow. Now, in terms of what they're looking at, I'm jumping around here. We're talking about, I'm going to pull it up so you can take a look. Consumer Price Index, excluding volatile food and energy prices, expected to have risen 4.3% in July over last year, pulling back slightly from June's 4.5% number. As Kevin Hincks was talking about when I talked to him at 9:15 this morning, consumer prices also expected to advance for the 14th consecutive month. Did you hear that one? We got quite a drop. You know, that's 14 months. That only brings us back to April of 2020. Things really got out of hand February and April by 0.5% after June's 0.9% number. Core CPI averaged an extremely hot 0.8% month over month over the prior 3 months. We had skyrocketing used car prices. Sometimes those used car prices putting in 1/3 of the impact of the CPI data alone. You have a Bank of America economist, I should say, talking about we expect used car prices to see a slight pullback this month after year-to-date gains in June surpassed the peak year-to-date gain in wholesale prices, suggesting that retail prices may have gotten a little overstretched. That's probably putting it lightly. Really interesting to see what happens with that market over the next year or even two as used vehicles come back online and maybe we see those prices pull back dramatically. Used cars, notoriously one of the worst things that you can invest in terms of the depreciation and the way they depreciate. Not so much the case recently, but I imagine we're going to get back to a depreciating asset when you talk about cars and used cars especially. All right, jumping around to what else we got going on, some of the articles that I had pulled up. This is just a FYI consumer alert, folks. I saw this one, living in Florida. Sunscreen, very important, folks. The sun down here, as we all know, no joke in any way. But pretty concerning here. Some of the sunscreens, some of the ones that I use a Neutrogena, got a little sensitive skin, make sure. Not one of the Neutrogenas mentioned here, but this is like the second one in a month maybe. Pull more sun products from the shelves. Cancer-linked chemical that also affects hormones in here is what's going on. So researchers had asked regulators to pull some of the sunscreens from the market. All the biggest names out here: Coppertone, Banana Boat, Neutrogena, evidence of potential carcinogen. Now, that doesn't exactly mean we're all in big trouble and going to get sick, but I would just be aware of that. And if you're using it, I would do some information here because you got this chemical, octocrylene maybe, and that's the one that seems to be doing it. Concerns about the sunscreens began in 2019 when the FDA asked manufacturers for safety data. In May, an independent testing lab found another probable carcinogen, benzene, in several products, leading to recalls. Nonetheless, something you want to keep your eye on. And I would do some research out there, folks, because they go through a number of them. But it's a little bit of a wake-up. Not what you want to hear, and sunscreen is so important to use. So you use it a lot. You want to make sure. I mean, they list them. Working with researchers, toxicologists, and they tested 16 octocrylene-based sun. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that. Purchased in France and U.S. The brands included, I mean, they're all Coppertone, Water Babies, Banana Boat, right? Neutrogena, Johnson & Johnson. All of them tested positive for this one chemical that they're a little bit worried about in here. And on top of that, they don't have data from some of these companies that they were talking about, so you get some of those products getting pulled. So keep that on your radar, folks, if you're using a bunch of sunscreen. All right, what else we got going on? Yeah, AWS, interesting here. So you got AWS. Of course, you have new CEO, Andy Jassy. He's running Amazon. He was the AWS guy. Got a little bit of shuffling going on behind him at AWS as he leaves. You have the cloud executive Charlie Bell leaving after 23 years there. He joined Amazon in 1998, worked in AWS since its earliest days. Comes a month after Jassy had took over as CEO, of course. A little bit of shuffling going on there. Interesting to see how that shakes out, especially when you look at AWS, just a juggernaut. I've talked about it before. Whoops, AWS. That's not the symbol. Maybe it will be. Maybe they'll spin it off someday. AMZN is the symbol for Amazon, up about 0.4% today. And if you take a look, folks, you jump over to the Analyze tab, you jump over to the Fundamental tab, excuse me, let alone every number you could want. In terms of all of this available, folks, on the Thinkorswim platform, they are a sponsor. I'd use them anyway. I know I'm biased. It's all out there, but I would. I tell my friends about it. I say the same exact thing, folks. I'd use them anyway. I wouldn't steer you to a product I didn't believe in. We're very fortunate to have a sponsor like Thinkorswim that I just fully believe in, and I'm fully proud to send people over to this platform, especially if you trade options in any fashion, folks. But they got all the fundamental data that you want here. What I love they do, and listen, don't follow this like, you know, a religion in terms of how they make this up. It's up for anybody's interpretation how much of a percentage of market cap is reflected on certain aspects of a business. But you're talking about 50% of the business, somewhere thereabouts. AWS, not many people are even aware that Amazon runs basically the entire back office of the internet for many Fortune 500 companies. AWS, 50% of it. Amazon North America, you're only talking about 30% of the company. International, 16.7%, and add about $40 billion of cash for the total market capitalization of that company. All right, what else we got going on? Yeah, Tesla, speaking of. So Tesla sold 32,968 China-made vehicles in July. Local sales plunged month over month. They had 24,347 for export. All right, local sales in China, vehicles plunged 69% to 8,621 cars from the 28,100 in June. So look at that, local sales just annihilated any other car maker. I mean, how are they pushing out 28,000 cars in June in China, and they're only selling 8,600 cars in July? That's a dicey one. The company makes the Model 3, 33,155 China-made vehicles, and that's talking about selling China-made vehicles. But keep your eye on that number. It was a wake-up. I mean, that's the number that I wanted to go over, folks. I'm surprised that Tesla isn't paying the price a little bit more on that. Pulling up Tesla, taking a look at the chart. You're down 1.3%. You are paying a little bit of a price on the open. Look at that, from about 714 to 704. I mean, you want to talk about, now this is where this gets a little bit funkier. 97.7% of what they're selling is automotive. Now, here's what's interesting, though. Yes, it's automotive, but many people talk about whether it's data, whether it's AI, whether it's about harnessing energy, right, in terms of how you market capitalize that, let alone they don't break it down at all here because probably it's just too volatile in terms of what they're doing, in terms of how the market is valuing Tesla to get to. Now, here's the part here that you got to keep your eye on. You're talking about $700 billion market cap, all right? A decent chunk of that is Tesla accelerating in China. You start telling me that you're not selling vehicles in China anymore in Tesla, yeah, they'll still be making them. They probably will still be selling them. But that is quite a wake up. And until I figured out why that was going on, I'd be a little bit worried that Tesla might be a little bit lofty for a $700 billion market capitalization if you got sales in China dropping off to that degree. I mean, for comparison here, folks, you jump over to GM, $78 billion. You can almost buy 10. You can almost buy, what, 9 GMs for the same price as you could buy Tesla. just for a little bit of demonstration of how much future promise is priced into the market capitalization of that company. All right, folks, stay tuned. We're going to be coming back. We got the S&Ps worth in about 3 points of all-time highs, trading at 44.30. Tech stocks higher as well, to the tune of about 19 points. We got the Russell backing off. The Russell lagging a bit. You're down about 8 points right now at 22.44. We'll take a look at some of the other stocks that had earnings, but let's check out AMC. AMC pulling back a bit. Well, we're still up about 7.4% on their numbers. AMC, look for them to be taking Bitcoin sometime soon. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back to finish up the show.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Markets can rise and fall like the tides. Subscribe to Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, and you too can ride the wave. Basil Chapman is an authority in technical analysis. His Chapman Wave trading system has been helping traders identify trends and capitalize on momentum in the markets since 1984. TFNN invites you to test Basil's proprietary Chapman Wave trading methodology with a monthly subscription to the Opening Call newsletter for only $149. Your subscription to the Opening Call comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee, as well as daily market updates on key indexes, stocks, and commodities. Ride the wave! Sign up for the Opening Call risk-free today.
Introducing Primal Edge.
Today, it's even more important to take a supplement that complements your health. Primal Edge is specifically formulated to boost your immune system and help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Our early ancestors found all their nutritional requirements in the wild environment. But today, our food sources don't contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based, vitamins, minerals, fatty and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated humic and fulvic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They've been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, without them, life cannot exist.
That's right, Ellen. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge. Just $89 exclusively at TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. Jumping around to other stocks with action this morning. We have Aramark out with their numbers, trading down about 2.6% on their numbers as they describe it in their own description. Global provider of food, facilities, and uniform services to education, healthcare, business, and industry, and sports, leisure, corrections clients. They provide a lot. They're down about 3% on their numbers. Jumping around to some of the other headlines that caught my eye this morning. Again, another PSA for the consumers out there. The buy now, pay later trend could be the next hidden source of consumer debt. Analysts warn. Shouldn't be a wake-up, folks. All right, there are some things that make a lot of sense to finance, like your house, okay? Sometimes like your car. They were talking about in the Tiger's Den, rightfully so. Used vehicles, one of the worst things you can buy for depreciating assets. Used vehicle, not as much. As we know, you drive that car off the lot day one, you lose a lot of that value on day one, as you should, because everyone wants the used car, right? You're paying a premium for that used car. But just beware, folks. We all need to manage our debt probably a little bit better. Maybe not all of us, but a little bit scary when you look at the buy now, pay later trend. We know Apple's going to be introducing that. You'll be able to pay over a series of payments. We see all the rent-a-center type things, right? Rent to own. When you talk about a couch, a TV, things that you should not be financing, folks. Try and steer away from that. I really try and make sure that I'm not financing anything that I can't pay for on day one, because if you have to finance it, all right, you have to push that forward, maybe you shouldn't be buying it just yet. Maybe you should save that money and get it done anyway. Not surprising there. Credit card debt, of course, a big problem on the type of payments that you have to pay in terms of the inordinate fees and percentages. And we'll wrap it up with a little bit of node to the gold bugs like to hear this. So you got Egyptian billionaire Naguib Sawiris says a quarter of your portfolio should be in gold. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that, but I think the gold bugs might like to hear that. Not sure that's what's going on right now with gold continuing to drop. We got gold down about $3. You're trading at 17.23, but interesting nonetheless. And as he's talking about a good investment at a time when the world is concerned about inflation. Pretty simple as that, but nonetheless, we got some inflation, folks, and gold hasn't caught a bid just yet. Markets, though, markets catching a bid. We're within 1 point of all-time highs on the S&P, folks. We got some earnings going on, of course. We got Disney out Thursday. We got CPI data out tomorrow. Stay tuned, folks. We got our man Basil Chapman up next. Fast Market at 11. Larry at noon. Don't forget about Larry's course next Thursday. Sign up on the front page of TFNN. Be right back, folks.